Okay, everybody, quiet on the set. Time for the Recruiting Animals show on January 10th, the second week of the new year, 2024. So far, the famous Tommy Pistachio. That's his mafia name. That's your mafia name, Pistachio. Hey, his company's called Palermo Roads. Okay, I'm not bringing that up out of nowhere. Okay. Tommy Pistachio. All those guys have nicknames, cool nicknames, right? And you've got one.
Yep.
But it's really Alascio. He's a super recruiter. And you know how I'm going to introduce him this year? He's got his own show on Fridays at noon Eastern, right? And anybody can join. But I got a feeling, I watched a few of the videos. It's a different pace. It's a little different from the Recruiting Animal show. Are there any big issues that emerge? People call in to ask you questions and stuff like that. Any big issues?
I think our biggest, that we get the most questions about, or people want to watch the videos, is anything to do with marketing, new business development, and NPCs. That seems to be a topic that really gets a lot of participation. People calling me and asking me questions about it afterwards, or a lot of comments on the videos. So if anything, and I think that really is indicative of what the market is looking right now. You're always having people.
Let's say, hold on. There are newbies here, okay, watching the show. Maybe if anybody's watching it, but we should say what an NPC is, right? Also, there's people.
Most placeable candidate.
Most placeable candidate.
Anybody that you recruited that you think you could call a company up and get an interview for that person or get them hired. Yeah. So
you've got the resume in hand. You've spoken to the candidate, and you've got a list of companies that you think might be interested in someone like this. So let me ask you a question about that. Do you check your list of companies that you're calling with the candidate before you call them?
Oftentimes when you're marketing a most placeable candidate or an NPC, it should be a relationship that the two of you have. So you're going to talk to the candidate. Where would you want to work? What companies would you like to go work for? Let's just say it's a mechanical engineer, and you are going to market him to all the manufacturers of HVAC systems. So you put that list together and ask him, who would you want to go work for? Add some companies to this. It should be a collaborative effort often, especially if the individual really wants to make a job change and wants you to help them do that.
I don't think those candidates have top of mind a list. They're working. The people we work with, they're generally, definitely you, they've already got jobs. They're not thinking of a whole list of companies. I find that you don't really
get not a list, but just one or two. Like, you work for Carrier, do you want to work for Comfort Systems, or is there any company?
But how long a list of companies will you make up to call if you've got a great candidate?
I try. A target list has always been, whether I'm recruiting or marketing NPC, is 50. That's the target list, is always 50.
50?
Mm-hmm.
You've got, just like Rich, you've got 50 companies that can use your candidates?
You have to remember, right, that there are 50 companies out there that hire that type of candidate. Could they use my candidate? I don't know.
No, that's what I meant. They hire that kind of person.
Yeah.
One of the things, I've always been a generalist, and one of the concerns about adopting a niche, which I've been convinced is a good way to go, but especially if you've got a very narrow niche, is that really limits the number of companies in your market. You can't have all of them be clients. You've got to have source companies as well. So 50 companies to market someone to, that's a lot, in my opinion.
You think so? I mean, let's take a niche like construction in Florida, right? General contractors in Florida. There are 1,000 general contractors in Florida. Obviously, a lot of them are onesie twosies, but they're easily 50 general contractors in the Orlando metro area.
I thought you had a very narrow niche, and you were working primarily with steel structures or something like that, not general contractors.
Okay, so the steel structures that I work with, the manufacturers of the steel structures, there are probably 45 manufacturers in the United States today that manufacture those structures, and I've worked with or have worked with at least half of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to remember, too, that when you're marketing an NPC, for example, in my industry, there are allied fields to the left and to the right that could also use that individual, because I'll give an example. An estimator who estimates structural steel could also estimate steel joist, could also estimate metal buildings, could also estimate concrete, for example, right? So you could, depending on your target list, you could expand that way. You could expand a further thing. It's, it just depends how you do it. I mean, I don't know anybody who's got a narrow niche where there's only 3 companies that only do that, right?
Well,
and if it is, maybe you're doing 30
okay.
different positions if it's 3 companies.
Okay. But it's never a concern for you then that you're going to you're going to have too many clients in your field, so you won't be able to source people from enough companies. Yeah. Okay. Now, I started posting this week on TikTok. Okay. Recruiting Animal is my name on TikTok. There's some great clips of you. Okay. I just got to say, so I know you guys don't go back and look at them, but I think they're better than anything else. I'm not speaking in them even. Okay. It's not just me, but I think they're very good. So if the audience
I feel like I dropped the ball on TikTok and I need to get back on it. Because I did a bunch of what I thought were good, and I wanted to do. You've seen the Nevers of Recruiting. I wanted to do a whole Nevers of Recruiting series of a bunch of videos. So,
okay,
I probably need to do that. You've really done a good job, dude. You got a bunch.
No, I just got it from last week's show. They're just really recent. Hi, David M. Marr. Welcome back to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Okay, he's up in heaven, everybody. He's working. He doesn't seem to be muted today, so he's working. He just likes to listen to us. Okay. So anything else? So I'm just asking Pistachio if there's any big issues. So what problems, since we just discussed a few, what problems do people have with marketing best candidates? Do they have where do they fall short usually, in your opinion? Don't watch those videos now. I'm talking to you, okay?
You're talking to me.
You're talking to me?
Oh, to Tommy. Yeah, wake up.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were talking to David. I'm sorry.
I did, David. He never wants to talk. I just said hello to him, okay? Now I'm going to have to edit this show, and I don't like doing that. It takes ages.
What was the question?
I apologize. Let me tell you, creating those little
Michael.
clips, it's an amazing amount of work, okay? Because sometimes anyway, going. Hopefully, everybody. I'll cut this stuff out, and you won't have to watch it. Anyway, what else is there when you're discussing NPCs? Is there any specific? Where do they have problems? Where do people fall
overcoming objections? Overcoming objections. How do you deal with? We don't have any openings. We're not looking. Your fee's too high. You have to go talk to HR, right? So we discuss ways to get around the gatekeepers, ways to overcome objections of. We're not
okay,
hiring,
your fee's too high. What are you going to say about that?
I mean, you're gonna, the first question is why are you saying that? We're a standard amount, and it's a conversation. I mean, the simple rebuttal is, that so many simple rebuttals, but a simple for a newbie would be, it's free to interview him. If you don't think he's worth $20,000, don't hire him.
What's happening?
Right? That's the simplest, quickest one that I tell people to use right out of the gate. If you've never really done this before and you want to get your feet wet, you overcoming objections is, well, hey.
Okay, we got the message. I'm going to bounce it off these other 2 guys. Rich is still dogging it. Okay, I'll wait till he shows up.
Money.
David M. Marr, he's always that smiley face. Okay, Dave.
Yes.
If you're marketing a candidate and somebody says too much money, I don't want to pay a recruiter. What do you think of
the recruiter fee or the candidates making too much money?
The fee, the recruiting fee, isn't it?
They don't want to pay the fee.
Well, I would explain that, you're paying for my expertise and my knowledge and my time. If you're not satisfied with that, then maybe we shouldn't do business.
Okay, well, that's not much. That's like saying, okay, just run over me. Okay, that's not much of handling an objection. Rich Rosen, are you listening?
I'm listening. I'm having a camera issue. I'm having all sorts of tech issues today.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about...
You should hire tech support, Rich.
Yeah, fuck that. We can figure it all ourselves. We can figure it all out myself.
Okay. Tommy said, they say, okay, I can't afford a recruiter. And you say, well, look, don't worry about it. See the person first and then decide if it's worthwhile. Tom, that's what you said essentially, right? What do you think, Rich?
I mean, that's the easiest, simplest, right out of the box It
Yeah.
doesn't cost you anything to talk to them.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they get a signed contract, yeah. If they're not going to sign a contract, then no. But assuming they're going to sign a contract, hey, get the person in front of them, and suddenly that cookie looks pretty good. It's. But in general, I mean, some people, like I just talked to a company a minute ago, they're just like, hey, we got to go through all these hoops to get a contract signed with an external recruiter, and I mean, you got to decide, is it worth how many hoops you're willing to jump through?
Exactly.
I mean, there's no black and white answer. Do it this way all the time. But I tend to, companies that don't want to pay a fee, fantastic. They're a great company to source from.
Okay, so you don't try to wrestle with them. They say they don't want to pay a fee, fine.
Depends on how much wrestling I have to do. If I only have to pinky wrestle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if it's like, hey, listen, I mean, do you not want to pay a fee because you got burnt by a recruiter? Do you don't want to get a fee because it really is too expensive? And then you can break down the fee, why it's going to save them money if they're actually smart human beings. If I can get this job filled in 2 weeks, first 3 months, and if for a sales role, you divide the quota up by the days, it's going to cost you $5,000 a day not to have this person on your team.
Exactly.
Well, then might be that
what's it costing you?
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Okay, but hold on. If it's a tough search, it's not necessarily going to be 2 weeks. That's a false promise.
No, I usually get my candidates out within 3 days. I've got top candidates out typically.
Oh, really?
Whether they hire them or not, it's another story.
But you have to test a job order quick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you have 3 to 5 days to kind of, especially with a new client, to show them what you can do.
But even in any search, I mean, I typically have people out within days. Not weeks. Usually, if a search takes you more than 2 weeks, it's usually a dog.
Really? Okay.
And what if it's
the other thing too?
What
Go
if
ahead,
it's
David and Marr? David and
a
Marr.
search, Rich, that you have that's not like in your core niche? Would you still take it? And the same thing apply or different?
Yeah, I mean, normally if I can't find someone in a matter of days, it really is generally a tough search, and it's not going to get filled without any heavy lifting, and it's not worth the fight. Unless it's a retainer, it's not really worth the fight, right? I mean, why you don't want to really work outside your niche anyway.
Okay. So guys are presenting. Hold on, these guys are presenting a very good case now for working a niche that you can supply the candidates very quickly without and impress your client and provide a great service without having to drag out the search by starting from scratch. Is that right?
Yeah, but that is the goal of using a recruiter. Save them time and energy.
Okay.
Also, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rich.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying one of the things when a lot of times you'll get, we only pay, we use a recruiting firm, they charge 20% or they charge 15%. So Finkel's got a good rebuttal that's basically, instead of asking why I charge 25, why don't you ask yourself why they charge only 20%?
Yeah.
There's not anything out there that someone can't charge less for or do cheaper.
Yeah. I mean,
and why haven't you hired anybody from them?
That's the big thing.
They don't have any candidates. Well, when I don't have any candidates, I only charge 20% too.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. If I have no candidates, I'll charge you less. I'll do 22%, 21%. I mean, these companies don't get it though. I mean, companies have been super frustrating this past year for sure, where they just
hold on. Are you saying like, if I don't have any candidates, I'll charge you 10 because
Yeah,
we're charging
yeah.
for nothing? Is that it? Because you're charging for nothing? Or
Yeah.
are you saying if I don't have any candidates on hand, then I'll give you a reduced rate because I'll drag out the
you're not going to work on it if it's lower than 20%.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's like the guy who goes to the hardware store and says, "Hey, these screws are 20 cents over at XYZ hardware. They're only 10. Why didn't you buy them there?" And he goes, "They don't have any." He goes, "Well, I don't have any. They're 10 cents too." It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But I saw a woman, she had her script for marketing an MPC, most placeable candidate. And she tells us, listen, I've been working on a search in your field, your niche, and I've got some really good candidates on hand. I'm wondering if I could send some out to see you. She's telling them that she's not going to do any work, isn't she? That she's double dipping, and won't that discourage them from wanting to pay her?
Chris Tamkin has a great thing. She says, if someone called you up and said, hey, Animal, man, I'm a caterer. I just got done doing this wedding yesterday, and I got all this food left over. Would you like to buy it at a top price?
Well, it's not exactly the same. I understand where you're,
Yeah, it
you're
is,
going.
right? You're coming to a client,
Well, hold
or a
on.
potential
You're-
client, and saying,
if
I got these leftover candidates.
if you're coming with a most placeable candidate, you're doing that's what it's about. You've already got the
Different.
candidate.
You got to phrase it right. You got to say, listen, this guy, I had a guy that came in second because they moved the job, they moved the location, or they didn't come to terms on comp. He was.
We found them late in the process.
Yeah, but that's not my point. My point is that you're not doing any work. You've already got the guy, the person in your stable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You're
so
paying for my expertise. You're not paying for my work.
Oh, so you're going back to David and Marr State, but Steve Finkel used to say, "Don't supply the
That's like
candidates right away.
1970s thing.
Stall for a few days.
That's,
Just
I mean, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's out of date.
Why is
Because
it out of
people
date?
want to get it done yesterday. They're not worried about. This is a speed
Yeah.
game now.
If they don't see the value in the service that I provide, they're not willing to pay me for my expertise. They can go fuck themselves.
Mm,
And
Pablo Picasso was in a bar. So a woman walked up to her and said, "Hey, this napkin, can you sketch me a little picture?" And he pulls out a pen, 2 seconds, hands it to her, and says, "That'll be $5,000." And she goes, "Oh my God, why? I only took you 3 seconds." She goes, "No, man, it took me 30 years to be able to do that in 3 seconds."
there you go.
Welcome, Steve Levy. Nice
The
to
man,
see
the
you.
myth, and the legend. Uncle Steve in the house.
I have
Mostly,
26 years of experience. It took me 26 years to be able to know that this candidate is a great fit for your company and to be able to have the relationship with him so I can present him to you. That is what you're paying me for.
Would
You're
you
not
say
paying me
that?
for it.
Would you say that? Rich, hold on. Rich always says, he said, "Look, I've been in this business for 27 years. I know what I'm talking about." Rich says that, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh,
I mean,
you do?
you don't say it like a jerk, but you're like, listen. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like being a lawyer or the plumber. It's like, I know what this is what the role. We filled this 100 times. We know what the right candidate looked like. I mean, I have a client. He just got fired because I told him he was going to get fired because he was trying to hire these big old near retired dinosaur type reps for a startup company that needed people to move quick. They didn't know how to hunt. They didn't know how to do anything. But this guy, he didn't like those guys. He liked guys he could relate with. The guy ended up getting.
Did Rich say something ageist there? I'm not clear. Does that
No, not at all.
Does that
Yeah,
mean
not
only
at all.
young people are good for?
Not at all. Not at all.
He didn't
This
hire
guy-
hunters.
This guy didn't hire hunters. He was hiring like guys that are like retiring from IBM, which I'm like, great. You want to pay me a 30% fee for that? Dynamite, my friend. We placed 4 of them. I mean, I'm like, they all stunk. And I told these guys, listen, the dumb role, but hey, this is what they did. They all knew what they were walking into. And I made a lot of money. These guys got good paychecks, didn't close any deals.
Okay, let me bring Steve up to speed for a second. If he's got external recruiters calling him, we're talking about marketing most placeable candidates, MPCs. So the recruiter is calling you up and saying, "Look, Steve, I've got candidate Schmo. She has worked in this field for a long time. She's really good. I believe she'd be good for your company, at least worth an interview." Okay. Now, my question to Steve, to these guys was, who love that method, you're asking, you've got these people, or you might say, "Look, I just did a search in your field. I've got a few additional candidates, and maybe you'd like to see them." You're double dipping. You're double dipping. Go. Okay, you go.
No, of course they're double dicking. They're double dicking. Notice what I said. Yes,
It's
they're
not your
double.
date night. Come on.
The funny thing is, I
different
certainly enjoy when recruiters say, "I've just recently completed a search for companies that are and they'll name competitors." Right there, that's code for, if you don't do business with me, you're going to be a source for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know that game. Come on. Animal. We've been
No, you're
around.
not answering the question.
That being said, if I know the recruiter, if Tom or Rich or others who I known for enough years, I'm certainly going to give them the courtesy of a conversation. But
Why not the other guy or girl? They've got somebody and they're telling you this person is good, and you listen over a phone for 1 minute. And you say,
animal,
that
here's why.
Don't try to talk me down, okay?
Here's why.
Go ahead.
I've been doing that for 20 years, so I have no problem doing it for the next 20.
It's true as well, yeah.
No, but the thing is, it's a question of trust. We've all, and I'm sure, Tom, Rich, and David, you've gotten them too. Michael, I'm sure you've gotten it well. People call you and they say, I've got this person, they're a perfect fit. Then you look at the recruiter's background and they got 47 minutes in the profession.
Yeah, you're bringing in extraneous things. We're
No, I'm
talking
not.
about
You're fighting.
That's what you're fighting.
we're talking about
bulk
recruiters
of
who
the-
know what they're talking about,
As
okay?
an in-house
we know they
recruiter-
don't.
As an
David and
in-house
Marr from heaven, go ahead.
as an in-house recruiter, the bulk of the messages from agencies you get are from hacks, and they're not polished. They have no credibility. They don't know who they're reaching out to. I can't tell you how many times I get like, why the hell are they reaching out to a recruiter as opposed to someone that actually makes a decision, like a recruiting director, right? They reach out to me. Like, I can do anything if I'm working on roles. So my point is they don't take the time to do the research. They want me to do the work for them. I'm not doing the work for them. If you want the business, go get it. And if I have no right relationship or no credibility, I'm not wasting my time.
So wait, so let me flip this around then, because I have a call on Friday at noon with an internal recruiter that a CRO put me in touch with. He's like, listen, this guy runs all the recruiting. You know, we use externals occasionally. We got 2 openings. So I got to talk to this internal recruiter that is probably not as old as, well, I know he's not as old as this t-shirt is even. And, you know, he said 7 jobs in like.
Rich, I use that line pretty regularly. It works.
And sadly true. So, all right. So how do you get an internal recruiter whose job typically is to say no? You know,
That's a good, but you bring up their job is not to say no.
Mhm.
Their job is to make it really difficult for you
Venture not partner.
for them to say yes. I mean, part of it is you have to look at their background, and maybe you can call me privately, and maybe if I know the person, that's the real solution there. If I'm an agency, outhouse recruiter. Thanks for letting me say that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah,
I
look
like
in stereo and stereo.
Animals so quiet.
Steve, I appreciate a good joke. It's all right.
But I know you do. I mean,
Yeah, I appreciate a good joke too. Just has to be a good joke.
Okay, so I got 2 questions. Let me
no,
talk. I got
you
2
just
questions.
zip it for a second. But Rich, here's what you need to do. And if I'm flipping around and I'm in your shoes, I'm going to find out. I'm going to do a little bit of work to see who do I know who knows that ding dong, and then at least put in. Look, this person's not a shithead. You know, they're really good at what they do. Just listen to them.
Sure.
Because if they're not even going to listen to you, nothing else matters. Whether you believe the person is great or not, it's irrelevant to me as an in-house recruiter because I know more about the role. Well, actually, that's not really true, David.
Yeah.
There is a presumption that I might know more about the role and what's really needed. And I'm more than willing to share. I am always more than willing with someone who I have a relationship with on the external side. I'm always willing to make the pitch.
Let me ask. Hold on. What Steve is saying here. What Steve is saying here is number one. You got to know the person. So how do you get to know the person? You know, and now he's saying do the old LinkedIn routine, get a referral from.
No, I didn't. I did not
I didn't mean you use LinkedIn, but it sounds like you call up a mutual acquaintance to endorse you, so you have a warm call instead of a cold call.
That's
he said.
That's exactly.
That's how everything is done now. I have every candidate do that when they interview. Look up the VP. Who do you know?
Yeah.
Who's mutual contact? Have that guy send an unsolicited call or text over to the guy.
Really?
It happened this morning.
Why not?
Animal, Rich, and Tom, and David. We'll talk about at RT tomorrow. A recruiter who came to Recruiter Therapy. She's in Puerto Rico. She saw a role. She'd done a lot of work in the insurance industry. Saw a role with NLS. They're based out of Missouri. There's an opening in Puerto Rico. She asked me, "Do I know somebody?" I go, "Oh." So I found out that I didn't know somebody, but what I did was I wrote a post about her, and she reshared and she reposted. Then I commented, tagging the head of TA.
Smart.
And 30 minutes later, he responded and included the actual recruiter working on the role. And then he and I are talking privately just for shits and giggles. So yes, it does work. It makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hold on a second. I have to come back. Tom, I haven't addressed that Trisha Tamkin stuff you talked about, but I want to now. I want to focus on this. Who does that? Because you guys are all nodding your heads now. I've never heard you say before that when you're dealing with a new company, when you're calling someone you don't know, you look for an intermediary and get an endorsement beforehand. I don't believe you guys would waste time doing that based on what I know about you. Tom,
if you have it,
Rich, go ahead.
yeah, if you have something scheduled, why wouldn't you? I mean,
If it's quick, if I can do it quick, I'm not going to scour God's earth.
Look,
but
there's
I'll
always
look at my LinkedIn real quick.
there's nothing wrong with doing the easy button. If you have this melodious voice like Rich and Tom, then why not? If you can coax David and I out of our pants, why not take a chance?
well, that's it. I mean,
I
everyone
gotta
loves.
go to the outhouse sometimes.
There you go. Everyone loves the outhouse once in a while, right?
First
that'd
of
be a
all,
great
I
name
don't
for-
like that
that'd be a
imagery
great
about
name for
coaxing you
recruiting
out of your pants. Okay, that wouldn't go over very well these days.
Great.
Secondly, he's
Michael's
playing both sides
developing
of
a
the
sense of
street.
morality
He's-
now
he's
after all these years.
Well, you'll get in HR trouble for that. That's sexual imagery, okay? Or
Sexual imagery.
yeah,
What are you seeing in the outhouse that you want to have sexual?
I didn't know he was talking about the outhouse. It
I
didn't
wasn't.
sound like it.
Michael,
Okay?
are you talking about sexual imagery? Have you seen what you have on your head?
There's nothing sexual about that. That's all
Animal, bend down.
Canadian.
And
That's
the
all
top of your head.
Canadian. But
Animal,
hold on, let me
lift it up
not
your
lose
head.
my train of thought. Okay, this guy, he's doing what Rich does. He's playing both sides of the street. He says, "You want to play the easy button? That's fine." First, he said, "No. Take time to find somebody who knows this person and get an
But you're
endorsement
careful.
from
Take
that
10
person."
seconds.
Okay.
You go to LinkedIn. You say, who's mutually connected to this guy? And then if you know any of those people, you send a text and say, hey, do you know Joe Schmo?
Did you do it? When was the last time you did that? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Literally yesterday. I
And
do it
you-
all the time. I tell candidates to do it all the time. Why would you not do it? Everyone wants to hire someone that they have some real connection to. It's right now, hiring is the hardest it's been in decades for agency recruiters. If your candidate does not have some connection to that candidate, at least in my space, you are a very long shot of getting hired.
To the
Referrals-
candidate, not even you. To
referrals-
the candidate.
Referrals is the way to go. It's where most of the hires come from internally, and especially in the sales space. I can tell you, I am currently doing pharma sales recruiting, and it's majority of them are referrals.
Yep.
Yeah. In fact, the thing about referrals is there are techniques that I use in the
Either pay attention to this show or that TV show you're watching.
no,
Okay,
no,
you can't
no,
do
no,
it at
no,
the same
no,
time.
no.
Okay, I'll talk to Tom. You go ahead.
No,
finish.
no, but I gotta finish it. It's just the boss is talking.
Porky Pig here. Okay,
Michael,
yeah.
don't make me come up to Canada and whoop your ass. I will visit my cousins and make a stop at your place. Don't.
I don't
Yeah.
often believe when people say that, but I believe Steve.
Actually, Steve, I'm going to be in New York this weekend.
Call me. I'll send you my number.
Yeah.
We can go to Temple Beth Goyam.
There you go.
Let's go.
No,
Let's go.
but the point is, I mean, each of us. I mean, I have techniques that really push referrals, at least within the tech space, to different levels, and we all have certain things we do. And to Rich's point, this is one of the more unique years that any of us has seen. And David notwithstanding, all of us have some grizzle on us from recruiting, so we've seen some pretty damn interesting years.
Oh yeah.
And so, if the worst case scenario that this means we have to up our relationship game, I think that's only going to benefit us down the line.
Yep.
Okay, well, I didn't see this. I mean, I got to tell you, and I still have hard time believing.
That's
it.
because your glasses are on. You're probably sleeping.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, I want to come back to David and Marr in a minute to see what he was talking about with regards to getting referrals. But before I forget, Tommy provided an objection against. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later, David and Marr, if you're leaving. Okay, but I want to come back to this. You said Trisha said, if you go to a company and say I've got leftovers, Why would they want to buy from you if it's leftover food? And you said it's the same thing as if you bring leftover candidates from another search. But every MPC, every candidate you present is obviously a leftover, right? You don't have to do any more work to find them. They can say, look, you're not doing anything for your money. Okay. Is that a legitimate objection, Tommy? What would...
It's a dumb objection.
Yeah, it's exactly what I said. I've been doing this for 27 years. You're not paying me because I brought you a candidate that I did work on before. You're paying me for my expertise to know that he fits your organization or he's a good fit for this or whatever.
Bottom line, who cares? Does he fit their pain or not? If you have a broken arm and I know how to fix it, who cares if I just fix 3 of them? I mean, it fixes your pain. That's all you have to worry about. That's the value you bring. Nothing else matters.
Okay, Steve, don't be intimidated by your wish to ingratiate yourself with these guys.
Easily intimidated individual.
No, but he likes to be liked. Okay, so
Michael, you've known him for close to 25 years. I have been on the I don't give a shit train for a long time.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, can I tell you? But that is what makes good recruiters good recruiters. You want everyone to like you, but you don't really care if they like you or not, because they're still going to need you when they need you, and they're not going to like you when they don't need to like you.
Well, the other side of that, Rich, is I am actually, as the older I get, I am by nature just a pretty nice person. I have left certain parts of my life. Eat me, Michael. I have left certain parts of my life behind, thankfully. So,
absolutely.
Okay, well, what I was asking, that was the introduction. If people call you and they've got candidates left over from other searches, would you actually say, you know what, this guy's not doing any work. He's just charging me full fee for what he was already paid for by somebody else?
Not a client you're going to work with.
Yeah, why do you keep going back to full fee? There is no such. My fee is my fee. It's not full fee. It's my fee.
Yeah, I mean, you're focused on the wrong problem.
No, but you're not doing a search for this
You did the search already.
Yeah, for somebody else paid you for it. That's the point.
Doesn't matter.
They didn't pay me for that candidate.
He still has the hole. I mean, you have a hole in your roof. You still need it fixed, right? Who cares if you if you have 2 holes in your roof? Then make it easy. You fixed 1 hole. Why should they pay you for the second one? You already fixed 1.
Okay. I figure they're paying me for all the time and effort I put into the search, not just for having
Why? You have 2 holes. There's 2 holes. You have 1 hole on the left side of your house, 1 hole on the right side of your house. I fixed 1. Should I not get paid for the second one to fix? Who cares?
Or a reduced, since I'm already there, a reduced price. I mean, if I bought a bucket of tar and I used the bucket of tar to fix 1 hole and I have a whole bunch left over, should I do all the next holes for free?
Okay. Here's a lightweight question. Okay, that's settled. Anybody else want to talk about NPCs? Now, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay.
All right, I have a better question. Hang on. I'll get Steve's opinion on this. With the ever-changing email outreach abilities with Google, Gmail and Yahoo are doing some massive changes in February. What do you think's going to? What are you doing to prepare for this change in outreach? Because it's not just the 5,000 daily emailers; it's everyone's going to get affected by it.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the $64,000 questions. Is in no special. I'm going to bring a couple of elements into that. Number one, LinkedIn fatigue.
Yeah.
LinkedIn fatigue has been escalating for the last couple of years, and especially now.
What does that mean?
It means people are getting so damn tired.
I'll read them. I don't read mine. I have 1,100 unopened LinkedIn messages.
To my point, I'll bring up a stat that in these LinkedIn numbers years ago, the average time spent on the platform a month by the entire representation of registered members was 17 minutes. That's gone down precipitously in subsequent years. Number two, LinkedIn, and I forget who it was, but one of their key product managers said LinkedIn is not a recruiting platform. It is a relationship platform. So as such, there's a thread about it, Michael. We all looked at them and go, "You gotta be fucking kidding me! We're spending this much money on a relationship platform? Still not." But we're also seeing they're pushing content upon content upon content, and what we're seeing is and it's so much more noise and shitty content by people who want to. It's me. It's the TikTok.
Are you going to
Type of
answer
thing.
Rich's question one day?
I am answering it. He knows I'm answering it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's kissing your ass. He's pretending that you're answering it.
no,
I'm
No,
thinking
he's
very
not.
simple
I might see him this weekend. He's not going to do that.
people who don't know how to use the phone. It's going to affect the people who don't know how to use the phone. The people who know how to use the phone and know how to market that way are not going to be affected.
You, sir, but all of you have heard me say, as technical as I am, the two most important social media tools are the telephone and the handshake.
Yeah.
And even my 24-year-old she calls because I told her, I'm not paying this much money for you to use your thumbs. Call me, damn it. But I'm seeing it, amongst my friends in recruiting, we help each other's family members out because God forbid you don't help your kid with a job search. It's just, you don't do that. And and they're calling. We're seeing surveys upon surveys, whether it's Pew, Quinnipiac, all these other great research, real surveys are showing that people are craving more humanity. And I think that may be the backlash to the AIG.
I wish we had that the people could
Oy
see this gallery. I read an article and I posted about it in the New York Times. This woman, a journalist, was spending too much time on her phone, and she got a flip phone, so she couldn't use the phone. And she started phoning people because she couldn't do texting. Okay, and nobody, she says, answers their phone, and nobody listens to their voicemail. Okay, so
nobody is a lot of people, Michael.
Only maybe her family who recognized her, just like you said, your 24-year-old.
So Animal, I made, what did I say, my stats, 9,200 phone calls last year in 9 months and 4,700 outbound. All right. Resulting in 466 hours on the phone. So people do get on the phone. All right.
Well, hold on. No, Rich has
Rich
has a technique. I'll get let back to Steve. Okay, Professor, but Rich has a triple threat approach. Okay, he'll send you an email, he'll phone you in the morning, and then he'll text you in the afternoon.
But
okay?
Guess what, Michael? So do the best recruit. We do the same blessed
No.
thing.
So yeah, but the thing is, they won't listen to the phone. Google won't let the email go through. He's going to be depending on the text. That's
you gotta find what works.
You got to find where. Like, here's something. I'll give the Blue Devil one kudo. The best thing that LinkedIn has done in the last couple of years is incorporate the Skype technology, the video instant messaging technology into the messaging. The number of people who I do, which is many, they go, I didn't even know this existed. This is great.
I posted about it the other day, and a woman said that doesn't work very well. The video in the
consider
messaging.
this. It works just fine.
It's not. People don't like to do it.
It's lightweight. It doesn't have the features as Google Meet, Zoom, WebEx, or Teams. It's instant. It's an instant, quick. How you doing?
Tell people how it works so they'll know what we're talking about.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You can do
really, Tom.
You just do web calls through the LinkedIn.
Yeah, Tom, are you on? Open up LinkedIn right now.
I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Give me a second.
Yeah, it's just like Facebook calling, same thing.
Where are you? Right there.
No idea.
Are. Give me a second. Message.
Oh, wait a second. I see it now. There's a little video thing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Video chat, and it says if you type in like video chat, which I just did, and say create video meeting. So I'm going to click it right now. I'm going to go send instant message. You see what comes up in the chat?
I want to try it. I've never used it for recruiting purposes, actually.
Yeah, it's really good. So you can see what it was, and maybe we can do it later. It's a very quick and if people have time.
Okay, so are you doing it for a live call or for sending someone a video message?
No, I'm doing it for a live. Do it for a live call.
Just say hop on right now.
Yeah, that's all it is. Look, you got a few minutes.
I did it with my old admin. She's over in London. I talk to her every so often, and we'll just hop on that way. But I've actually never done it for work, which is kind of funny. I've done loop videos.
Interesting.
Who's going to pick up on one of those calls?
If someone just on a message campaign and someone gets back to you, just write back, say, "Hey, I can talk right now." Just click a button.
That's it, and it really works.
It's not for outreach. Then it's not for outreach, for marketing.
I wouldn't do that. I would still warm things up.
Yeah, even text is tougher for cold outreach, I find. Cold text I don't think works great.
Not even cold text. I mean, even warm text these days. You know, I've got a I've got a pretty network, and the people who I know, who know me, who interact with me, I send them text messages, and I never get a response.
Yeah.
Never. That's not never.
Yeah.
It infrequently these days.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, but everything I don't know. But I mean, I find everything this past year has been unique. You know.
Okay. So so Rich's problem that he mentioned 10 minutes ago, at least, okay, he's worried his email is not going to go through. I have to tell you, we've got Tommy and Rich here have a lot of expertise in how to protect your emails from going to spam.
So
okay.
Wait, let me just add one thing to this. I was talking to an email campaign company the other day. These guys, they just finished their AppSumo campaign. It was a great group, a great product, I thought, called Send Now. They're not.
What is it? Send now.
Send now.
Now they're not even allowing you to send to Gmail accounts because it's gonna happen to everyone. They only can send to corporate. So it's gonna get ugly.
But that's where you put the work in to find those other things and other platforms like.
Oh no, you guys are just scaring me. Okay, you're not giving me any solutions. Tommy, do you have a solution?
Okay, here's solutions to email solutions.
Yeah.
Number one, it's convergibility. You pick multiple platforms, and you'll get a message. If you know an email, if you know LinkedIn, if you know Twitter, if you know whatever it might be.
You got a year until they keep shutting each of them down, basically. So, all you can do is outreach because people are going to eventually want to change jobs or do whatever. There's going to be some way you have to communicate to people, and people will revolt back if you can't get any emails. You can't get any if you only got an email from your approved list, it's a pretty small list for the vast majority of human beings, and it would cost the economy zillions of dollars in lost marketing revenue. As much as everyone hates it, it does drive the economy.
Correct.
So,
if Gmail starts blocking everybody, it's going to be a huge backlash on them, and people will stop using Gmail.
Very much so. And there's way too much data, on that platform.
Oh, yeah. And these
for Google to want to give up.
Bingo. And iPhone was going to get rid of all this messaging crap and all this other marketing stuff on your phone. Like I built the original team that became iAd for iPhones. And they were last year or 2 years ago, they were going to change everything. I think they changed it slightly and then went back because it was too much. They lost too much revenue.
It's like little things, and we see platforms tweak all the time. Have you received on your LinkedIn mobile app, or also the platform app, the updates where my network now has grow and catch up?
No, I haven't seen that.
What a shit show!
Yeah.
Because
that's the problem. LinkedIn's trying to be a social media platform like Facebook and all those. And as you said, they say we're not a recruiting platform, which is the biggest bullshit that there is, because that's who uses it. We use it to build relationships and recruit candidates.
I call it, this Facebookization of LinkedIn has been taking place for about 7 or 8 years now. And little by little, you talk to your women friends, and that would be an interesting show, Michael. Is how many recruiters who have been hit on LinkedIn, and that's why we're calling. I love when he freezes. This is the classic.
I'm here. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Wait. See, what happened to all those? What was the old company, Cybertech, where all the recruiters are dressed in like lingerie, basically, on LinkedIn? I mean, where are they?
But that was just a classic one that I put up a long time ago.
About problems. It's not what we like to talk about here.
But
solutions. You're delivering a lecture for.
Listen, Howdy, Doody. If you don't talk about problems, you don't talk about solutions. It's howdy doody. Come on, man. No, but that's going to happen. The platform is going to have to.
You're saying the email apocalypse is coming, and there's nothing we can do about it.
No.
I think that I keep hearing this, and man, you're talking about completely disrupting the entire business world.
I do think there's going to be some bumps in the email chain this year. And if your SPFF record, your DMARC record's not set properly and completely properly, if you got one little thing off, you're going to be screwed. And you're going to hit. Hang on. You're going to hit blacklist. Hang on. You're going to hit blacklist easier this year, and then you really need to send from multiple domains. I think more than ever this year.
Yeah. No, and I agree. You're going to come up, look at
I got an
get
important
get
question.
get.
I was
What?
going to start the show with this question. Okay,
Then
is
why
it a
didn't you?
bad sign? Is it a bad sign if
Yeah.
your client company, if the boss has a special parking spot?
Who the hell cares? Who goes to the
What?
office?
Okay, who goes to the office? Some people do. Then if you
If
guys
that's
don't,
your biggest problem in life, then you know what? Find
Life's not bad.
yeah, exactly.
really, because you know what? There's a guy named it's John Rennie. He's a military guy who now is a leadership consultant. He said that's a bad sign. Okay, and then you guys say it's nothing.
That's like the same trainer
I
says
mean-
cold calling is dead. It's just an easy thing to bitch
Yeah.
about that no one cares.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean,
dumb.
Simpson Strong Tie used to be a client of mine. Barkley Simpson used to say, if you want the spot up front, beat me to work.
Yep.
Right. So that was a good thing, right? Like, yeah. So if I go to a company and there's a spot out front that says Rich Rosen and no one else can park on it, that's kind of a shitty thing, right? Like you're like, unless I don't know, maybe you're in New York City and there's no parking. That's a different thing.
I'm taking if that's a spot for Rosen, I'm going to park in it and park over the line just to piss his ass off.
And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna walk in there, just let the air out of those tires, baby.
And I'll come back and anyway.
Now he's frozen.
I'm not frozen. Okay, I'm here. I'm
Done by
trying
the
to-
education. So more importantly, why won't my iPhone connect to my Mac? That's the bigger question.
You've
Tom.
signed into the same user ID and using the
Right.
same.
Yeah, same Wi-Fi, same everything. The mic works, but not the camera. Weird.
When was the
about
last time?
this?
What was the last time you turned off your iPhone?
That's a good question.
Reset.
worked.
If you don't know, then consider when you get a chance, go back to shut them both off, shut them down. Give 10 seconds for all the capacitance to wear off, and then boot it on again.
All right, we'll turn off the phone now. See what happens
Now, I got a question now. Since we're on LinkedIn, I do have a question about it. What's better, the LinkedIn app or LinkedIn desktop?
I use
desktop.
yeah,
My
I use,
opinion.
I use both. You use whatever you can use, whatever I have at
But
the
they've
time.
got different features, right?
If you think I'm going to type a long article on this thing, even though I have, I'll dictate it. I have additional things, additional plugins, Chrome extensions that are useful for the Blue
Yeah, but
Devil.
it doesn't have. Is the video on desktop and the app or
Yes,
the
it
camera?
is.
They've got camera
is.
roll.
Yes, same.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
Who's
don't see.
listening?
I mean, other than the fact of it's a scaled down version. I don't see it. I mean, other than like as Steve was saying, typing stuff. I would much rather be on desktop. I can do
No,
better
but they've
searches.
got a Windows app. They've got a Windows app as well that you download for your desktop, as opposed to going onto the the net. Anybody using that? No.
I'm on a
Okay.
Mac.
I don't like apps.
On a Mac, and there's no need to. That's just.
Oh, okay. You're on a Mac. What about
Junk.
this? What about in a fee agreement if you insist that all resumes, if you're dealing with the talent acquisition department, I know, but you insist in the fee agreement that all resumes you send actually get to the hiring manager for review. They can't be filtered out. Is that reasonable?
Well, you should be just working with the hiring manager and the internal anyway, and it should be a partnership, not a vendor. I'm just fighting with a company on this right now. If you want me to be a vendor, then use someone else. But you should be able to reach out to the person, and you should be able to send the resume to the hiring manager. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just a vendor. So who cares?
Yeah. I mean, the times I've worked with retained firms and whatnot, it's like, look, the agreement is bless you. It's just copy me in on the stuff you send.
Yeah.
If there was something, if there's something I noticed that was illegal, immoral, or fattening, I'll call you. It's not hard.
See, what I don't get is this. I'm working with more internals than I ever have before, and some are fantastic, but they're clueless, and some are just clueless. And this, I've got one person now. She literally said to me, she's like, "Rich," because I was getting mad because my guys would get to the finals, and then they would blow up. And it's all along the way. She just tell me all this great stuff, and I push her for negative feedback, and just get the positive. I'm like, you got to give me some of the negative. What don't they like? No, they loved everything about him.
No, that's not real.
Of course.
Yeah, it's not real.
So then I'm like, all right. So last week we're talking to her, and I'm like, hey, listen, what's the deal? I can't keep working on stuff if you're not giving me the real feedback. I mean, this is crazy. And she's like, well, you're the only person that pushes back on us. And I'm like, well. This other recruiter hops on and she's like, well, he's also the only recruiter getting people past the first round, which is great. But then she's like, Rich, do you expect to close every deal you work on? Which I'm like, yes, this is commission only, baby. I'm like, this is the problem.
So I have a solution for that one, Rich. And this is what I've been talking about and showing people and doing this for people. The biggest problem, and David knows this, is if you show me the rubric, 4 words, show me the rubric.
Mm-hmm.
And if there isn't one, then without a rubric
a rubric is a checklist, right?
No, it's not a checklist. A rubric is a framework. For example, let's say arbitrarily software engineers. It may be algorithms and data structures. It may be data structures, algorithms, things like that on the left-hand side.
It's a scorecard. It's a scorecard.
No, it's not. It's not the scorecard yet, Animal. It is a framework for understanding, based on the questions that you ask a person and their answers, where they fall in. Are their skills? Is their performance according to the rubric basic, minimal, strong, or superb? Now, what it does is it reduces conscious and subconscious, unconscious bias. Presumably you've gone through training, and that way, when it comes time for the debrief meeting, Rich, is what a lot of us do is we will review each interviewer's scorecard on this person and say, ultimately at the end, is it a strongly disagree, agree, or disagree? Notice there's no 5 categories. You have to make a damn decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the debrief, you'll often hear things like, I just don't feel there'll be a culture fit. The problem with that is, what I always say is, well, stop, time right here. What do you mean culture fit? Well, it's just a feeling that I had. So no, that's a bad burrito you had for lunch. Tell me, what questions did you ask that person that led you to the determination that they're not a good culture fit? And what did they say? Well, they didn't really ask them questions. Time. These are the things that, you want to know. I want to know. As the recruiter, I said, come on, you can't do that. We can't continue with this debrief. If you feel that the person is not a culture fit, what question would you like to ask them? Get back on the call. It's not hard.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I think that's fantastic answer. The problem is the internal recruiters, and even the managers, they don't get it. They don't understand it. And you can't, and as an external, you can push to a degree. But I'm not sure if it's more or less than an internal, candidly. But it's
hold on, Rich. By that you mean that, like, you can't say, "Hey, dum-dum." What do you mean by? What do you mean by not a culture fit?
You can say those things. You can push that way, but eventually you're just like, dude, listen, you're too much of a pain in the ass. We just got to fill the search. They have no, even at those that you think you have value, they think you bring value. They still, right now, more so in this past year, have much more limited on their accessibility.
Yeah. Look, ultimately what it boils down to is it's the difference between being, and you alluded to this earlier, a difference between a talent advisor and an order taker at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. And David, we've talked about this ad nauseum everywhere. Is the profession is at a crossroads, and it's not just internal or external. The entire profession, shit rolls downhill regardless of the side of the fence you're on. And we have to push towards that talent advising. Being a talent advisor also means there's more collaboration, there's more corroboration. And that's what we have to push for because none of us are going to retire anytime soon. So it's just whether
I'm in a university lecture and everything's over my head. Okay, let me ask a question.
Not really saying much.
Let's bring the mafia guy in here.
You got to put your hat on so Animal can understand.
Yeah. Okay. Pistachio. If somebody says to you, this candidate with the scorecard rubric, okay, they've got everything technical, but
you said that so disdainful. I'm
because I speak English. I speak normal English so people can understand. I'm not an engineer. Okay, I'm not sophisticated.
Let's go to Tim Hortons, and speak English.
Okay. Well, I don't go to there anymore. Okay. I'm asking another down to earth fellow, Tommy Alascio. Okay, if the candidate has everything technical and the hiring manager says, well, he's not a culture fit. What are you going to say to her? What's your comeback?
Unfortunately, I'm going to say I completely understand, because I have a client who is very big on cultural fit, and they would hire a junior candidate who didn't have their PE over a PE from a direct competitor if it's a better cultural fit.
Okay, so you know in
Tom,
advance a very narrow.
Yes, but Tom, what does culture fit really mean?
Mm-hmm.
For this particular client, there's certain parameters they look for. So let's say for an engineer, for example, they want them to be outgoing. They want to be able to look you in the eye when they talk to you, not look at their feet. They want them to have somewhat of an entrepreneurial type attitude. They want them to be a team player. They want them to be able to, deal with, I call it Yale or jail. Someone who graduated from Yale or just got released from jail. And they have a little test called an Aldrich test that they can apply to the candidate. And the score is not a right or wrong or pass or fail. It's how do they fall within the parameters of all the employees of the company.
But so the things that you mentioned, you can build a rubric for them, and you can ask specific questions for them. And I suspect that client of yours is not asking the question; they're going with the feeling. I got a feeling.
I got a client like that too. It's a nightmare.
And so,
They don't have a rubric, but what they do have is they have behavioral based interview questions for the junior level candidates, and they have the Aldrich test for anybody who's going to be looked at in leadership down the road.
And that's fine. That's not a hill I'm going to die on, but I am going to die on definition of what culture fit is. And anytime I hear culture fit, negative culture fit, my mind, and this is just all of us.
Gun. Anytime I hear the word culture fit, I pick up my gun.
Yeah, it's definitely got a
you don't have to-
I know. The funny thing is, the funny thing, Animal, he talks about picking up a gun.
A squirt gun.
It is definitely a squirt gun with him.
I've never held a gun except a toy gun.
No kidding. We are completely shocked by that admission.
Hold on a second. No. Let me get to this. We're almost done with the show. Can you, if somebody gives you that, the way Steve said it, okay? The culture fit. Obviously, Steve thinks that person didn't really articulate to him or herself what the problem is. They just got a feeling. Okay. Have you ever had an intention? I'm going to turn that hiring manager around, and she's going to hire this candidate.
But can I tell you? But one of the things I love doing is recording videos. I started doing it last year, and it pissed off a lot of clients, candidly, but it also saved a lot of deals because they didn't understand. They asked the wrong question and got the answer they asked, not what they were looking for.
Correct.
For the
bias. That's bias.
And they don't realize it. And then if you can play back that clip and, or here's the transcript, go back, they have it, look at what they did. And
you're using Honeit or something like that. And the candidate.
Honet's a good platform.
It's a good one. I use Track AI. I use Metaverse.
Otter AI is a good one also.
Yeah.
And so you set it up for the company and the candidate. You're not there.
No, every call that is scheduled gets automatically recorded, whether I'm there or not.
Okay, so it's never face to face; it's always online.
It's like a virtual assistant.
Okay, and the people never have say, "I don't want to be recorded." What if I say?
A lot of them do. And the first time I've had people just hang up and reschedule just send a new Zoom link to the candidate, and then I tell them, and if it's not the hiring manager, I tell them like, "You got a problem. This guy doesn't want to be recorded on an interview. That's a serious red flag."
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, gentlemen, David, we have to go to the next thing right now. Did you receive the invite?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
12:59. The show's over anyway, but I'll leave this hanging then. Okay. Yeah. Steve, nice to see you.
Rich,
David and Marr.
Rich, I'll text you my number.
Please.
Animal.
Okay. I'll ask the culture question next time. Thanks, everybody.
I'm going to come up and kick your ass.
Rich, kick my ass. Look, I know the guys. He used to go with no shirt. I know he's got a lot of muscles, just like Rich, okay? You come up here and kick my ass. Go ahead. I don't care. I got nothing to live for.
You live in New
York,
York,
wreck
Steve?
email. We're going to have to kill ourselves, okay?
Long Island.
In the city?
We talked to. No, on
Long Island. Yeah. I'm going to visit my daughter. She goes to Rutgers. We're definitely getting together.
Okay. Later. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye, buddy. See you guys.